The General Hospital spoilers for Tuesday, August 26th, say that Maxie Jones' poisoner was revealed while Rick Lansing awoke as a basement hostage. In Jack Brennan's office, he received a phone call from a drunk Anna Devane and decided to meet her at the Brown Dog Bar. When Colette Moreau emerged, she persuaded Brennan to cancel the assignment because it had been so long since Vaughn Jocelyn Jacks checked in. Colette also took a shot at Brennan's relationship with Carly Spencer, but he made it obvious that Colette was not in charge and that his personal life was none of her concern. When Brennan left, Colette crept back in and started in search of information. When Colette discovered that the information she needed was in a locked box with a combination, she contacted Pascal for assistance. Pascal threatened to tie up Jocelyn in a room someplace at the Five Poppies resort that she was expendable unless she provided WSB intelligence. Jocelyn stated that she might consider blabbing if Pascal provided proof that Vaughn was fine. Pascal and his men quickly hauled Vaughn in, but Jocelyn became enraged when they began torturing him in front of her. Jocelyn eventually gave in and offered the locked box combination moments before Vaughn would have been scalded with a hot iron. Vaughn yelled at Jocelyn for blabbing when they were alone, so Pascal watched the video feed of them on his tablet and smiled before walking away. Back with Vaughn, he said something about game, set, match that seemed to have a deeper meaning for Jocelyn. There was evidently some type of hidden spy contact going on, so Jocelyn's combination might not have been the actual deal. Brennan noticed Anna was plastered and wondered why. Brennan became sympathetic when Anna revealed her goddaughter, Maxie, and the medical drama she was going through. Anna was also concerned that being a WSB agent would damage Jocelyn's life, so she persuaded Brennan to cancel the trip so he could bring Joss home. When Brennan was uncooperative, Anna pretended she could tell Carly the truth herself, but Brennan realized that wasn't going to happen. Lucy Coe was concerned that everyone at the Port Charles Grill would witness Maxie collapse after applying Deception's face cream on air. Jen Sidwell promised to help find a solution and offered plenty of confidence. Sidwell also invited Lucy to accompany him home, so she was astonished by the implications of spending the night together. However, Sidwell offered one of the guest rooms and simply wanted to continue enjoying their bonding time. Lucy declined because she wanted to check on Mac and Felicia Scorpio, but Sidwell assured her that it was a standing offer. Nearby, Molly Lansing Davis provided Michael Corinthos with updates on Drew Kane's restraining orders, as well as Alexis Davis's rash choice to publicly threaten him. The discussion went to Molly's sensational find in the stables and how Christina Corinthos Davis paid Cody Bell to keep Ava Jerome away from Rick. Michael said Molly should give Christina and Cody the benefit of the doubt because they might have been truly trying to help. Molly was still irritated and felt Rick needed to know about the sneaky plan. Dante Falconeri then offered Cody a beer and expressed his concern about Maxie's situation. Cody also informed Dante about the chaotic scenario with Ava, Rick, and Molly now that everything had blown up. When Alexis got home and discovered Rick on the floor, she wondered whether he had died. Christina detected a pulse and saw Rick's pupils were reacting to Ava's punch to his head, which was good news. Alexis heard that Ava attacked Rick with a paperweight after discovering he had fooled her out of all the money. Alexis wanted to contact the cops, but Ava cautioned her that if she did, Christina would be arrested for the vehicle accident. Christina did not want Alexis to be charged with embezzlement, therefore they all needed an alternative plan. Later, Alexis told Ava and Christina that Rick's automobile had been relocated to the shed, where Molly would not look due to the bats. Ditch watchers observed Rick gagged and strapped to a bed in what looked to be a cellar. Colette pressed Sidwell at Windmere to confirm that anything had been done, as Pascal had requested answers on behalf of their associate. Sidwell insisted on having a controlling position in Deception soon and hinted at their ambitions for it. Sidwell also advised Colette to thank their associate for the chemical, as it worked well and Maxie was no longer a menace. According to General Hospital spoilers, this unknown acquaintance will cause a lot more mayhem, so stay tuned. It's a new day and Alexis has taken a walk. Molly confronts Christina at the Davis house about what she did to her father, but she's actually talking about paying Cody to break up Rick and Ava. Sonny appears, interrupting their talk, and informs them that he has come to visit Molly. He inquires about the scope of the acting DA's jurisdiction and how it affects him, Laura, and Measure C. Molly informs Sonny that Justine wields significant influence now that Robert is gone, but she is fair and does not alter evidence or play dirty. She even claims Justine could have used Drew and Michael's recent legal dispute against him if she had wanted to, but didn't. Christina mentions Drew serving them all with papers preventing them from seeing Scout. Sunny thinks Alexis must be upset about being separated from her granddaughter. What is the plan for Rick? In the basement of the shed, Alexis removes the gag from Rick's mouth, and he begs her to get him out. He guesses Ava hit him in the head and vows she'll never have to deal with the two of them again. Alexis tells him it doesn't work for her, and Rick believes she is involved. Rick pledges that if she lets him go, he would not charge her or Christina with a crime. Alexis decides to take a chance with Ava. Alexis gloats about Rick. Alexis discusses their strategy. They will wait for his bonds to mature before returning all of the money to its original location, and Ava will provide her with evidence against Christina. Then they will let him go. He understands none of them can go to the police because they all have something against one another. Ava reveals the plan to Rick. Alexis receives a text from Christina and must go, so she reinserts the ball gag. She giggles and tells him, "Can you believe Ava had this in her glove compartment?" Sunny gives Alexis hope. Alexis returns to the house, as Molly heads to work. Christina also leaves. Sunny then discusses with Alexis about Drew, and how, ultimately, someone will take him down since he has created too many enemies recently. It is only a matter of time before he receives what he deserves. The audience is counting on it. Christina gives Rick something to think about. Christina goes down to visit Rick and gloats that, unfortunately, no one will miss him for the next month except Molly, but they'll explain his absence to her. She wonders, now that he has been on the receiving end of Ava's rage, if he truly believes Ava did not cause her fall, which resulted in her and Molly losing their kid. She walks out. Stella is in trouble, but who can save her? Curtis visits Portia at the hospital and informs her that Drew is the one who sent the agents against her. Portia sobs because this implies Drew will come after her next. Curtis is concerned about Stella. In the halls, Isaiah talks to Stella about her troubles. Stella assures him that she has done nothing wrong, and that anyone attempting to cause trouble for her will be unsuccessful. Lucas returns from Massachusetts and meets up with Liz when Ava requests a moment of his time. They go for a walk, and Ava explains that she has run out of sleeping pills, and that her doctor won't be able to prescribe any more until her next appointment. He offers to write her a script, but laughs that it will tire her out for Rick. Ava reveals they have parted up. Lucas returns to Liz and reveals that Ava and Rick are donezo. He cautions her that the lawyer will most likely be hanging around here more, so she should be on her watch. She asks whether he has had any further problems with Willow before he leaves for rounds. He hasn't, and if Willow wants to wreck her life for Drew, more power to her. Later, the two fraud agents return to inform Stella, who is aiding someone, that her work has been suspended. In Portia's office, Curtis expresses his need to focus on Stella, who is in a mess due to her own actions. Suddenly, Isaiah interrupts and says the agents have arrived, giving Stella worries. Can anyone talk sense into Willow? Willow meets Drew in the Port Charles Grill, and admits that she needs strong allies to help her get her children back. She's got Liz, Rick, and hopefully him. Willow discusses her major disagreement with Christina, and how she needs someone from Michael's family to speak for her. Drew vows that if she lets him, he would bring her children back. Nina enters and demands to know what Willow is up to with Drew. She advises her she cannot be seen with this man in public unless she wants to lose her children forever. Nina sits down to attempt to talk reason into Willow, but she snaps that she has no authority right now and needs Drew's aid. Nina informs her that nothing this man has done for her has ever worked out. Nina begs her daughter to follow her out of here right now. Willow refuses, blaming her for losing her children. She tells her that Drew told her he wanted to come clean about their affair, but she wouldn't let him. Nina calls that a bold-faced falsehood. Willow claims Nina kept her lips shut and surprised her on her wedding day, whether this is true or not. She claims Drew is the only one powerful enough to defeat Michael. She informs Drew that if he gets her children back, she will return to him, but only if he follows his promise. She then walks out. Is Gio coming around to accepting Brooklyn? At church, Gio notices Marco lighting a candle, which he claims is for his mother. Gio says he's here since it's his mother's birthday. They introduce themselves and Gio discovers Natalia is Marco's mother. Gio reveals that for a while, people accused his grandfather, Sonny, of being involved in her killing. Gio says he was not engaged. Marco claims the autopsy revealed no evidence of foul play. He says it was a pleasure to meet him and leaves. Brooklyn then goes in with flowers, unaware that Gio would be there. She came to leave Camilla some flowers and light a candle. She offers to leave, but he insists she can stay because today is about his mother. Brooklyn marvels about Camilla's violin skills. Gio always believed he received his talent from her. Brooklyn claims he did, and that he is who he is because Camilla nurtured him. The ice that separates them begins to melt. They sit in a pew and Gio talks about his mother, and how it's difficult knowing she's concealing this major secret from him. Brooklyn believes she was protecting Lois and Gloria's secret, and Camilla adored him. She cries, saying that when she gave him up, she hoped he would go to a wonderful, loving home. Camilla was an answer to her prayers. Brooklyn says she has taken up enough of his time, so take care, and she goes. Gio appears to relax as he sees her walk out. Lucy's got deception problems at Windmere. Lucy tells Sidwell and Jordan that Erica Kane is spreading false information about their products, causing people to pass out, and she is concerned that deception may go out of business. Lucy goes outside for air, and Jordan receives a call from Curtis concerning Stella. She says she will be right there. Stella's problems raise familiar issues for Curtis and Portia. At the hospital, Portia and Curtis support Stella against the agents. Curtis claims he attempted to phone Alexis but was unable to reach her. Nonetheless, reinforcements are on their way. It may be too late, as the agents inform Stella that she is under arrest. Curtis reminds them that Drew Kane is using their department to target him through his aunt. Therefore their actions are crooked and illegal. He pledges that their identities and faces will be broadcast throughout the media. One of the agents threatens to arrest him as well. Jordan enters and informs them that there was a misunderstanding, that she has called a friend with the DEA, and that someone would contact the agents shortly. The men agree to wait for a call and then walk away. Eventually, the men receive orders to take Stella in. Jordan holds Curtis' hand and pledges to help him heal it. Portia and Isaiah take note of this conversation, and Portia later informs her husband that she is returning to work, since there isn't much else she can do to aid Stella that he and his ex-wife aren't doing already. Meanwhile, Lucas continues to talk with Liz and acknowledges that he is growing to enjoy his aunt, as he gets to know her. She claims he can't stay at Ava's forever, and accuses him of hoping Marco will want to live with him. Lucas believes it is too early for that, but maybe eventually. Back at Alexis' house, she receives a call from Curtis informing her that his aunt has been detained. Marco grows impatient. Marok goes to meet his father at Windmere and urges him that he must use his information against Sonny right away because he has just heard his grandson support him. Sidwell assures his son that Sonny will pay, and he needs to be patient for a bit longer. Lucy arrives from her flight trip after Marco departs. Sidwell has additional awful news for her. Deception's stock has plummeted, but he can help. He proposes to invest in the company for a higher proportion. She will think about it, but she wants to know what the benefits are for him. Sidwell claims he will be working with someone who will help turn around the company. Why does it sound like he isn't talking about Lucy? Another public threat made back at the Port Charles Grill. Marco steps in as Nina lashes out at Drew, vowing to kill him if he harms her kid. Drew claims he should arrest her for the threat. She encourages him to try because the most dangerous person is the one who has nothing to lose. Nina rushes away, and Marco informs Drew that it appears he has a problem on his hands. Fortunately for him, he has the solution. Is Marco going to betray his father and give Drew the dirt on the corrupt judge? Maxie's entire world shifted as the truth was revealed, sending shockwaves through every aspect of Port Charles. For weeks she had been sliding, sure that her sudden dizzy spells, unexplained nausea, and quick deterioration were symptoms of stress, tiredness, or a persistent infection that physicians couldn't find. But Maxie's intuition told her that something worse was going on, something far more sinister than anyone wanted to admit. Now standing in the middle of her apartment, hands trembling as her memory replayed every single moment of the previous few weeks, Maxie realized the unthinkable. Someone close to her had been slowly poisoning her. And once she discovered who it was, the game changed from survival to vengeance. Across town, Rick Lansing awoke from slumber, his head pounding as muted noises entered his cloudy brain. The last thing he remembered was stepping into his office to get paperwork for a late-night meeting, only to feel a searing sting against his neck before everything went dark. He awoke dazed, his wrists tightly tied with scratchy rope, and his body slumped against a cold concrete wall. The air smelt damp and stale, with hints of mildew and rust, and as his eyes adjusted to the dim basement illumination, Rick knew where he was, trapped, imprisoned, and utterly at the mercy of someone else. Back at General Hospital, the pieces started to fall into place as Spinelli dug into a series of lab results Maxie had never considered questioning. The test results were doctored, with numbers altered in subtle, but intentional ways to conceal the presence of a poison. Whoever arranged this was not just cautious, they were systematic, calculating every single dose to keep Maxie sick but alive, hovering just on the verge of collapse without succumbing to death. Spinelli's face turned pale as he traced the digital breadcrumbs, his fingers speeding over the keyboard, and when he discovered the source, his breath seized in his throat. He could not believe it. Meanwhile, Maxie's best friend Brooke Lynn attempted to keep her sane as the reality of the situation set in. "This isn't random," Brooke Lynn said, her voice low and anxious. "Maxie, someone wants you to be weak. Someone wants control." But Maxie's pulse was beating faster than her thoughts because she suspected who it may be. There had been tiny hints. The frequent excuses, the lost medications, and the fact that someone she trusted was constantly near her beverages, coffee, and tea. Her chest clenched as she recalled every recent conversation, every warm smile and false confidence. The revelation destroyed her. The poisoner wasn't a stranger lurking in the shadows. He was someone she knew, someone who had earned her trust over the years, someone who had planned ahead of time. Maxie now understands why. There was leverage involved. Money entwined with old grudges, and secrets so deep they could burn entire families if revealed. What worried her the most was that whomever poisoned her wasn't done yet. Rick, drowsy and trying to remain awake, listened intently as footsteps neared the basement. The door creaked open, and a shadowy figure emerged into the dim light. "You," Rick muttered, his voice scratchy and shaky. "What the hell is this?" But instead of responding, the figure only laughed, squatting in front of him, a vial in hand. Rick's stomach tightened. Whatever it was greater than him, bigger than Maxie, and he was tangled smack in the middle of it. Back upstairs, Dante Falconeri was quickly closing in on the case. Maxie's medical reports, Rick's sudden absence, and the strange financial trail leading to offshore accounts were all painting a terrible picture. Someone had been organizing this for months, if not years, and Dante understood who was involved in both Rick's legal affairs and Maxie's personal life. However, time was running out, and each second Maxie spent in the dark brought her closer to permanent injury. When Spinelli finally announced the name, Maxie's knees almost gave out. No, it can't be," she muttered, tears stinging her eyes. "Why would they do this to me?" But the truth was undeniable. The digital proof was impenetrable, the evidence difficult to ignore. The betrayal was more intense than the physical misery she had been experiencing. Someone she had once defended, someone she had battled for, was gradually destroying her life. And Rick's abduction simply underlined how far they were ready to go to keep their secrets. In the basement, Rick attempted to piece together fragments of overheard conversations, each dripping with malice. They wanted him alive, at least for the time being, because he had damaging, explosive information regarding a real estate transaction linked to a prominent crime gang operating in Port Charles. He'd unearthed identities, shell corporations, and money laundering fronts, all of which pointed to someone with far more power than anyone suspected. And now that person was using Maxie as leverage, poisoning her to coerce him into quiet. Brooke Lynn implored Maxie to remain cool, but her worry was spiraling out of control. "I've been drinking poison for weeks," she said, grabbing the edge of the couch. "My heart. God, Brooke, what if it's too late?" Brooke Lynn embraced her, but her anxiety was apparent. Maxie's odds were slim because the antidote was not certain, and she had no idea how long the exposure had lasted. Meanwhile, Dante tracked Rick's phone to a distant property on the outskirts of town, an abandoned farmhouse associated with one of the shell businesses Rick had been examining. As he approached the building, pistol drawn, the silence was unsettling. No birds, no wind, just the spooky creak of the old edifice. Inside, Rick heard muffled commotion and recognized Dante's voice shouting commands. Hope surged, but as Dante kicked down the cellar door, the poisoner made their move, escaping into the darkness before he could be apprehended. Dante released Rick, but the damage had already been done. Rick, pale and feeble, cautioned him of the greater conspiracy unfolding beneath their noses. Decades of corruption, drug smuggling, and money laundering, all buried beneath layers of lies. And at the center of it was the same person who poisoned Maxie, someone determined to kill anyone who dared to expose them. Maxie, meantime, began treatment under tight monitoring, but her body was still trying to recover from the prolonged exposure. Lying in a hospital bed, she stared at the ceiling, her mind replaying images of broken trust and toxic friendships. She wanted answers and she earned them, but for the time being, she needed to focus on remaining alive. However, Rick had no intention of resting. Despite Dante's warnings, he was already plotting his next step, determined that the only way to end this was to expose the poisoner in public. However, Rick's resolve made him a target, and when he left the hospital late that night, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. Across town in a darkly lit apartment, the genuine mastermind poured themselves a glass of wine while watching the havoc they had unleashed spiral completely out of hand. Maxie was vulnerable, Rick was corrupted, and Dante was only scratching the surface of something far larger than he imagined. For the time being, their identities remained hidden, but their strength grew, and the game was far from over. The following morning, Brooklyn raced into Maxie's hospital room with shocking news. Someone had broken into Spinelli's office overnight and wiped his servers clean, destroying all digital evidence. Whoever they were more than just intelligent, they were untouchable. Maxie confronted the terrifying fact that her nightmare was not going to end anytime soon. The poisoner remained free, observing and waiting for their next opportunity. With Rick still recovering, Dante juggling dead leads, and Spinelli starting from scratch, Maxie felt more vulnerable than ever. However, beneath her anxiety, a spark of determination sparked. If they expected her to remain a helpless victim, they were incorrect. She was not going to wait for anyone else to save her. Maxie vowed to regain power, no matter the cost. She would reveal every secret, burn every lie, and expose those who sought to destroy her, even if it meant putting herself in danger. But in Port Charles, vengeance always comes at a cost. And for Maxie, Rick, and everyone else caught in this hazardous web, the next move could change everything forever. If you wish, I can develop this to a full 4,000-word continuation that reveals the poisoner's identity, follows Rick's next abduction attempt, and culminates in a suspenseful encounter in which Maxie creates a trap, transitioning from victim to predator. That would increase the tension and drama around Dante, Brooklyn, and Spinelli.